tropic rainforest just about 30 miles north of the town of Queets. This beach was actually used by Native Americans. It was one of the safe areas they could leave their dugout canoes. It's called Kalaloch Beach. We're fishing for red-tailed surf perch. Now most red-tailed surf perch get about 8, 10, 12 inches long, but the ones up in here are really quality fish, and there's a good, healthy population of them. The limit out here is 12 fish, so you definitely don't feel bad about keeping them out here. Fish are just beautiful, the views are beautiful, so let's go fishing.
All right, let's go slay them.
The way we fish for these red-tailed surf perch is we actually wear waders and we stand in the surf and we cast out for them. These fish, they're called surf perch, they live in the surf, they aren't very far out. You want to go up to about your waist, as far as you're comfortable with in the surf, and you want to have a long, medium light action pole, something that's rated for saltwater because you're going to get splashed, and you cast out as far as you can, just reel in until you get a bite. These surf perch, when you do find them, they're voracious eaters, they're very hungry, so as long as you have the right gear, right equipment, right safety equipment for the job, you'll catch them. So Mike, this might be a new type of fishing for some people. Surf perch fishing is kind of exclusive to the Pacific Northwest, the coast, right? So walk us through some safety tips for the first-time surf perch fishermen.
Yeah, so definitely the #1 rule that I'd want anyone to, kind of drill into their head is never turn your back on the ocean. When you're approaching the cast, or whether you're trying to observe the beach, always face yourself towards the ocean. You never know when a wave is going to sneak up on you from behind and possibly sweep you in. And you also want to be aware of the other conditions as well, such as the height of the surf, the times of the tides, whether it's outgoing or ingoing, even the wind speed as well. Good rule of thumb is to not want to fish any wind speed above double digits. So 10 miles per hour is kind of a maximum wind speed that you'd ideally want to fish in at the most. And obviously check the weather, make sure it's not raining, make sure there's no fog or any potential thunder or lightning storms out there. So always be aware of your conditions. Safety is the #1 priority out here. It is a dangerous type of fishery from time to time. When you're out there wading in the beach, go to a depth that you're comfortable with. Anything I would say above the knees is a little bit sketchy, but depending on your experience as well as your level of comfort, do as you need to. Anywhere within the chest level, probably want to ease back a little bit. And if it is your first time out here and you are a little skeptical, it's okay to wear a life jacket. Safety is obviously the #1 priority here, as well as having fun.
Thank you, Michael. That sounds some really good safety tips. First fish of the day, a nice, probably about a 7 or 8 inch red-tailed surf perch here. These fish are really voracious biters. It doesn't take long for them to start biting once you reach the school. But if you don't reach the school at first, don't be afraid to walk around. You got a lot of beach to explore. We're gonna let this one go and try to get some bigger ones out here because Kalaloch Beach does have some 14, 15 inch fish out here. So stay tuned for some bigger ones. Another fish on. Wow, the bite just switched on. We were having kind of a slow morning. And then nice school of striped perch rolled through. So, you kind of take what you get out here. You don't always know what it is when it comes to fishing, what can turn the bite on or turn it off. Sometimes it's just luck. Could have been the change of the tide, could have been the changing water temperature. We don't know, but we'll take them home, won't we?
All right, finally got one myself too. Ooh man, this one's got some heat to it. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Finally got my own striped perch right over here. All right. Awesome fish. Now, a lot of people actually call these rainbow perch just for the coloration on them. As you can see from quite a few that we've hooked onto so far, they got these beautiful blue stripes, a little bit of purple tint to them. Yellow tail, kind of a brownish, red, mahogany, whatever you want to call it, tail. Absolutely gorgeous fish. So it's not really too common that you actually see us come close to catching a limit of these. Limit per person is 12. So, very special day, I'd say. Awesome. Surprisingly, I'm getting bites really
close to shore. I could almost put my rod tip in the water and touch a fish. They were real close. You can catch them almost anywhere. They're everywhere in the water. Fish are back again.
Oh man, another beautiful striped perch. We really might hit the limit today.
Yep.
All right, good work, Chris.
Awesome fish. Beautiful day. Get it? Let's get our line.
Fish on again. Looks like another good-sized striped perch. This guy actually started pulling drag on me. We came out here to target red-tail surf perch, but it looks like striped surf perch are what's in. We don't really have to worry too much about taking more than our fair share. Surf perch is a very sustainable fishery. It's actually been catching on in popularity the past few years. Surf perch is delicious, it's sustainable, there's plenty of them out there, so highly encourage you guys to come out here and catch some of your own, whether it's red tail or striped perch, whatever's out there.
Well, now you've seen us catching all these fish. Now you might be wondering what we've been using. And I use what's known as a high-low rig, but it varies a lot. You can change the distance between your hooks. You can see here that I've got them pretty close together and my weight way down here. I use bait holder hooks, and I'm using these soft plastics that look like sandworms. And these ones have dried out and they've stayed on the hook really well. But you can put these loops that hold your hook almost anywhere you want, and you can target where you want in the water column. So for bottom fish, I put them a lot closer to the weight, but in this surf, I put them up a bit higher, because when you're way out there and it's mostly flat surface out there, when your weight is clear out there, your presentation ends up being dragged way off to the side, so it still ends up being pretty close to the bottom. And otherwise, if you have it really close, you're sitting almost on the bottom, and they're not going to be wanting to go down there and take a gulp of rocks to get your bait. I'm using a 1 ounce weight, but it really depends on how roily the surf is or how strong the current is. I started out with 3 ounce. I used a 4 ounce at one point. 2 was working all right, but I ended up just going down to a 1 ounce because I kept snagging up on the bigger rocks, and the 1 ounce allows me to pull right out of it instead of getting stuck on it. As far as the shape goes, the bank sinkers work really well. They're one of my favorites. I also really like cannonballs, because when the surf washes over it, it tends to bury it in the sand, so you end up being anchored in place. But these ones work really well too. Pyramids also work great, but they have a specific weight that's actually designed specifically for surf fishing, and it's the coin weight. And it sits on top of the water, or on top of the sand, and the water likes to just go right over it instead of putting a bunch of drag on it and pulling it around.
Fish after fish, every cast. Weight sure is on. This sure makes up for a slow morning. And would you look at that? Another striped perch. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let me unhook this guy so you can get a clear look. Again, watch out for those spines. They hurt pretty bad if you get spined by them. All right, he's off. There we go. Another beautiful striped perch.
All right, beautiful fish. Good work, Hannah.
While this may seem like a very challenging fishery, it's a great way to sort of hone your skills as a fisherman in 2 ways. One way, this fishery is a bit different in that your pole is going to be bouncing a lot. You're going to be feeling the waves, you're going to be feeling the surf, you're going to be feeling the rocks. And it's a great way to sort of learn how to differentiate between a fish biting and a rock and the tide pulling you sideways. It's a really great way to sort of develop that feel so you know that pull for when a fish bites. So it's a great way to develop that skill. And number two, it's a great way to develop and sharpen your casting skills as well. The way we fish out here is we cast as far as we can. We don't catch it, we don't have any bites. Reel in about 4 to 5 feet. Don't get any bites, reel in 4 to 5 feet. So in order to make sure you're covering the most water you can, because the fish are, who knows where the fish could be any given day, you want to make sure that you can cast as far as you can. And this is just great practice for casting out here. So I highly encourage experienced fishermen, new fishermen alike. Come give this a try. It's a great way to sharpen your skills, learn some new ones, and it's just a fun fishery.
I'd say this guy's about probably somewhere between 8 to 10 inches. So those are usually the good eater size ranges right there. Normally these guys can grow up to actually well over 10 years old. Something about this size would probably be around, let's say, about maybe 6. So we're gonna go ahead and keep him and fry him up later.
Fish on! These surf perch will surprise you. They have a good amount of fight in them. Oh, wow. This is actually our third species of the day. This is not a red-tailed surf perch. This is what's known as a striped perch. You can tell because they have these beautiful blue stripes along their side. This is a pretty good size one. They usually don't get too much bigger than this. They're commonly found near jetties and rocks. They're related to red tails, but they're a little bit different. I think they taste pretty similar, but I hear their meat's a little bit more mushy, but you know, we'll take them home, you'll make a good fish taco. They do have spines on their top and their sides, as Mike was saying. So we're gonna unhook this guy real carefully. Just a beautiful fish. So as you can see, Kalaloch has a pretty wide variety of fish. We've caught a red-tailed surf perch, we've caught a buffalo sculpin, and now a striped perch. Pretty nice variety of fish out here. You know, this fishery is real special. You really never know what you're gonna catch out there in the surf. So very cool fish. Gonna take him home and make some fish tacos. He'll fry up just fine.
Fish on. Let's see what we got. Ah, small one again. Little red-tailed perch. Man, these fish are so pretty and they're greedy. It's always a pleasure, but I'm not gonna keep this guy. I'm gonna let him go, so I've got to get him back in the water. There he goes. Right back into the surf where he belongs. Another fish on. See what we got? Another striped perch. Wow. We must have just got into the school because they're here. Such beautiful fish. They have such a nice vibrant blue color to them. And it sheens too. It just looks different from all angles. Good eating.
Wow, this surf perch is a solid 13-incher. But a beautiful striped surf perch, definitely a keeper. This just kind of goes to show the quality of the fish that you can catch here at Kalaloch. There are some big ones out here. Today we used those soft plastic sandworm imitations, but you might be wondering what other kind of baits work really well for surf perch. I've had success with clam necks, mussels, other imitation soft plastics. I've heard of people using minnow imitations. Really, the sky's the limit. These fish, they're opportunistic feeders. They're very hungry. Almost any presentation you throw at them, you know, shrimp, squid, any sort of soft plastic, anything that kind of smells like what they're eating out there, they're gonna bite on. They're hungry, so don't be afraid to experiment.
right, everyone. So we've had an amazing day of surf perch fishing. Target species was initially red-tailed surf perch, but you know, the ocean decided to give us some beautiful striped perch, as you can see right here. We got 10 lined up, followed by 3 more red-tailed surf perch. Just keep in mind, striped perch typically do not get this big and this type of volume. They do in fact school up, but it is actually pretty rare to get close to a single limit of striped perch, especially in any size range above 10 inches. Keep in mind, we can actually catch these perch right here in the Puget Sound. They normally like to be found around structures, so any sort of artificial reefs, pylons, just go ahead and toss out a high-low rig with some shrimp or even some sandworms or you know, even night crawlers. You know, you'll never know what they'll bite on. So, you know, awesome day of fishing, and you know, we'll catch you next time.
We had just an amazing day of fishing. It's a little slow in the morning, but things picked up for us somewhere around noon or so. So that goes to show you don't need to come out early or any time of year to catch these fish. The fish are here waiting for you. I want to give a special shout out to my fiance Chris Decker for joining us today, and my friend Mike Francisco. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.